What is going on, everyone? Yu-Gi-Oh here, back on YouTube with another video. Asked by many of you and by popular demand, we will be doing a couple test hands for you today just to see what we can come up with our Mikankguu deck list. Now, obviously, you know, to get to I sold is always objective number one. Seeing connector in hand always helps us with extending our combos and starting our combos, but what can happen if we don't always see connector? So let's see what we can come up with. We'll put our extra deck to the side here, and we'll start shuffling up. So yeah, one of the primary objectives of the deck obviously is to reach I sold. I sold gives you just so much advantage, allows you to get equips into grave, and ultimately kind of puts on a lot of your plays to just get hand knowledge and move from there and extend. So we're going to shuffle up the deck here. I think we'll only have time for maybe just a couple. I don't want to, waste too much of your time. If we want a part 2 video or another, kind of video on just looking at ways to get to I sold, then let me know. But for now, we'll just do a couple test hands. I'll walk you through some of my my thinking and I guess my insight as we're looking at the hands here. So if it is a little bit annoying, my apologies. Just trying to kind of look at every angle, and we're gonna try to assume that our opponent may have a hand trap, but I don't want to have that completely stifle the creative sort of plays that we can do for this particular video. There'll be other videos in the future where I think we'll be more cognizant of hand traps in our opponent's hand, but let's just see what we got. Okay, so it's pretty good. We'll do another little shuffle here, and then we'll do a half cut. And we'll go 5 here. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Let's see what we got. We have got a IOC, we got an E-Telly, we got a connector, we got a dance, and we have Allotrope Virus. Okay, so not a bad hand. Obviously, seeing connector is really good here. We are also insulated with our connector getting negated with an E-Telly and Allotrope Virus in hand. Now, ideally, you wouldn't want the Varus to be in the hand with E-Telly, but you know what? The nice thing about E-Telly is that it specials from deck or hand, so it's not dead by any means. It just would have been nice to have that extra card advantage. But we also have IOC here, which can allow us to dig further for hand traps, or sorry, not hand traps, sorry, but extension, and also just put an extra body on the board. So let's get into it. We're going to first put our opponent on Do They Have It? So we're going to normal summon out connector, as we always do, and we're going to go connector effect. If they have Droll, we beat Droll here. If they have an Ash, like I said, we can always just go E-Telly, special out Varus, and then go Varus effect, calling Fire Warrior, and then you can go into I sold that way, right? So there's the contingency plan right there. There's your ability to play through your connector getting negated. But anyway, for now, let's just assume it goes all the way through, and let's just see how we can play this out here. So we will special out our Dolphin here, and we'll keep going through the deck to find him. Okay, there he is. So we'll special out the Dolphin, and we actually have a really good discard outlet in Maya Wishidori, which is kind of nice. So we'll go Dolphin effect, send the Mayo to the grave, and at this point, we check our opponent's hand, we see what they have, maybe we rip a Droll, maybe we rip something else out, like a mini starter for them, that would be really nice too. So we do get to hand rip for 1, which is good, or at the very least see what they have in their hand. Now obviously there's so many variety of things that they can get here, but we're going to see how we can just keep playing, and let's just assume they have, a couple starters, and maybe a couple monsters or something like that. So, cool. So we've got the 2 warriors on board. Of course, that means that we're going to link them off into I sold. And we'll go in here and go I sold. We're then going to go I sold effect, and that is going to search us. We're going to grab the Roland here like we normally do. Again, just gives us really good clap back and follow-up. Because then we can get an equip in our hands for the follow-up, and it could be a double-edged sword, it could be whatever. So that's good to know. Now, we don't have in our hand currently an Ohime. So we probably just have to go with almost the 1-card starter combo, but we can still extend by having the Varus and by having the IOC. I think we're going to fire off the IOC right now. We'll go IOC effect to reveal, and then we're going to add souls. Excuse me, souls. So we'll add the souls, and then of course we'll put back the IOC here, and we'll then go souls effect, send the IOC to the grave, and then we'll special our souls out. Okay, so we have an extra body on board, which is nice. At this point, what can we do? We can go iSold effect, we can send the one. Yeah, I think that might be the play here. So what we'll do is we'll go iSold effect, send one for cost. We will send our arabesque to the grave, and then we'll special out a warrior with the same level, which is going to be Renault here. And whenever we get to him, a lot of digging. Okay, there we go. So special out the Renault. We're going to go Renault effect, target the arabesque. We're going to add arabesque to our hand. Okay. So far so good. We have arabesque. The inclination might be to equip it to souls. You don't though for this combo. You equip it to Renault. So we're going to activate arabesque, equip to Renault, activate arabesque effect, and we're going to special out the Hare. So we're going to special out Hare here, and then bounce back the Renault to hand. Hare becomes equipped now with arabesque, so we'll go Hare effect. And that's going to search us for a fire dance. Now again, if you're seeing any other lines that may be more optimal than the ones I'm showing you, please let me know in the comments below, because this is all about optimizing play and optimizing the deck, right? But now that we have a fire warrior on field, we can go special summon Renault, and then we have these two in play. He's now a tuner, so that's really good. I think the play is to go into the Herald line and then get our access to iSold, sorry, not iSold, but access to Ohime that way. I think that's the play. Just thinking here. Because also the E-Telly in our hand also gives us access to Huli, which is good too. And of course the Huli gets banished off of the E-Telly, but if you link it off and then bring it back with a Mayo, it doesn't really matter, and we do have our Mayo in grave as well. Thinking. Yeah, okay, so I think what we're going to do then is we're just going to turn this into a Herald, and of course the arabesque falls off as well, and we'll have our Herald over here. So now we've got 3 on board. We could just go, we don't have to use the fire dance to bring back the Hare to then link them all off. But if we keep the souls on field, it gives us draw power later on if we have equips on the field that we don't necessarily need, which is really good. So I think what we'll do is we'll still go fire dance here, and we'll bring back the Hare non-target. And of course, this becomes equipped to it, but we've already procced its effect, so we don't want to cheat here. But we'll then link these all off, and we'll get into our 3 negate Apo, which is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, that's a pretty good negate on board. Now, of course, if we saw that our opponent had nib, guys, that we've done already our How to Play Through Nibiru Part 1 and Part 2 videos. So there are ways to kind of guess what we can do next. But again, I don't know, with test hands in this particular build, going off hand knowledge is going to determine how you play this out. So, we're just going to try and build the best board that we can, and then go from there. Okay, so we've got E-Telly, we've got Varus, and we've got Roland in hand still. We got the souls up on field. We're going to activate Herald because it was sent to the graveyard here. And of course, you'd activate that sooner, but I'm just talking out through plays right now. So we're going to go Herald effect, and that's going to get us Ohime. Herald is so good for this deck, man. It's just really, really good. So we're going to get the Ohime in hand. And even though we grabbed the Roland for follow-up, we might have to end up just discarding it with the Ohime because we might want to use that E-Telly for Varus or not. I don't know yet if we're going to use it for Varus or for a Huli and then just kind of extend out from there. Let me think. Okay, we've got some follow-up in grave. Obviously, we've got the Mayo in grave, which is really good. So we'll have the Huli access at that point. Yeah, okay. I think then what we're going to end up doing is we'll go Ohime effect to reveal. And then we're going to grab ceremony here. Yeah, there's our ceremony. So we're going to grab ceremony. And then what are we going to throw away? We're going to discard. We can discard the Roland. Now, again, if you're discarding Roland at this point, you're not going to get the effect off of Roland because it was grabbed by I sold. So just remember that, right? But it is good discard fodder nonetheless. We could get rid of the Varus. I mean, it's nice to have a tuner on field just in case we want to get... well, we don't have another Herald, though. That's the only issue. So maybe in this case we get rid of Varus. And then we can do some Hooli shenanigans with E-Telly. Yeah, I think that's the play. Okay, so we'll get rid of the Varus here. And again, guys, like I don't know, you know, this is just a fluid situation, so I don't know if this is always going to be the correct play or not. So we'll just see where we can go from here. Okay, we're then going to activate ceremony. We're going to then special out our Ohime and then send the ceremony to the grave. We're going to go Ohime effect here and target the Arabesque. And I think that's the play because then we're going to equip Arabesque to Apo to then protect our Apo from getting destroyed by card effect. We are then going to go ceremony effect to banish, and then we're going to send... in this case, we can send a Hooli here. We can also bring back the Hare with our Fire Dance. Oh, sorry, we already used Fire Dance with our Mayo engrave, which is another option too. So just thinking on that with how we want to play that out, but yeah, but then we have the E-Telly, so that's not a terrible thing. Okay, we can still make things happen here. We can still make things work. Yeah, I think we're still okay. So what we'll do is we're going ceremony right now. So we'll send the Hooli to the grave. And remember, we can get Hooli off of the E-Telly, but we might want to just use E-Telly as just an extra body on field. And we have the souls as well as more extension too. So there's that as well. So in this case, though, what we'll do is we'll go Mayo effect, target the Hooli, and we'll special. Are we in frame? Yes, we are. And then we'll go Hooli effect. And we are going to grab, I think we're going to grab Promise here. We'll grab the Promise. Yeah, because I think we can get into an IP play, which is really cool. So we'll grab Promise. And that'll be added to our hand. Okay, let's see here. So we got Hooli, we got Souls on field. We could go Souls draw 2, but then that gets rid of our Apo protection and our, you know, our Hooli. But if you get rid of the Mayo, that's probably fine if you want to link off the Hooli too. We also have Ohime as well. You could grab a Rivalry instead of the Promise too, but I think the play is still to go into an IP, go with the Snatch, and then just play out from there. You could do that. You could have also kept the Varus in hand as well, and then specialed out the Varus with E-Telly, and then go Ohime plus the Varus to get a level 7, which is Shooter, and then do some weird stuff that way too. But remember, we didn't have Ohime in hand to begin with, so it was just a 1-card connector combo to start. Okay, so I think what we'll end up doing then is we'll go E-Telly here, and we will special out another Hooli. Yeah, don't know if this is like the most optimal line by any means, guys, but we're trying to figure it out as we go here. Okay, we can link these two off into an IP if we wanted. We could go into a Barricade Board Blocker, which would be funny, but we've already used that. You could go... Yeah, I think that's the play here. I think we just go... now, do we want to draw more off of souls? That's the question. Do you want to draw off of souls? You might have to, because do we have a valid target engraved for the promise? That's the question. Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. We might have to end up doing that. I think if we go Souls Effect, get rid of these two and draw into more extension, that might be the better play. Just trying to push to see how big of a board we can get. Because then we can send the Mayo and the Erebus to grave. So we lose out on the protection from our Apo, which kind of sucks. But it is what it is. I mean, I don't think it's like the worst thing in the world by any means. Yeah, we might have to end up just doing that. We might have to go then, at the very least, go Souls Effect. And then we'll send the Erebus to the graveyard, so that way our promise is still alive no matter what, and then we'll draw a card here. We'll keep the Mayo on board for the Huli. Again, like, I don't know if this is, you know, the best or optimal line. I mean, I'm sure there's so many others if I just had more time with it. I mean, when you're always under the red light, there's always a lot of pressure to, you know, make the most optimal line happen. So we'll draw a card here. We draw into a prep. I mean, again, it's going to be extension for the follow-up turn if we don't get our Ohime back, which is really good. And of course, because we already used up the one Herald, we may not have a chance to get Ohime that way either, right? So that's fine. Okay, so this Mayo is equipped to this Huli. We'll link these off, and we'll go into an IP here. Now, remember, what can we go off into the IP? We can go into a Nightmare Unicorn. We could also go into like an Access Code Talker. That may not be optimal here, but there are options to move forward. We could also go into a Barricade Board Blocker if we're really scared of back row removal. And so what do we have here? I mean, we've got a prep. We've got the Roland here for extra follow-up and clapback. We've got 3 negates on board, plus disruption. So then we'll... Let me just double check here. Do we have anything in grave that we need to be aware of? Always remember, guys, to check your graveyard, because you just never know what you're going to need. There's also Selene play access here eventually too, because we can get at the Nini and link out that way as well. So it just depends on what your opponent is going to play. And again, we have hand knowledge here. So if we know that they have like a lot of monsters in hand, we can just negate a ton with the Apo and then steal one of their starters with an IP too. So we'll go Promise over here. Again, in our hand, we've got the Roland and we've got the Prep. So then draw standby phase. We can go Promise, and then we'll special out, our Nini. So we'll go the Nini here, and then from grave we'll equip the Erebus that we have. So we missed out on like protecting our Apo there, but I think what you end up getting in the long run is something maybe a little bit more valuable, because you can still go into like a Link 3 play. You can still do a Nini steal and then link off the IP with the Stolen Monster if you don't want it on board anymore. So there's options here. There's plays here. So altogether, what do we have? We have three negates, 3 monster negates, a steal, and then like a Nightmare Unicorn shuffle back. So that's 4-5 interactions on your opponent's turn. Not bad, not bad. Now, if we wanted to go the rivalry play instead of Promise, you could totally do that. You could Rondo the monster, have the Rondo, and then go IP. So that would be fine too, because then you could go IP, steal with the Rondo, change it into a Unicorn, have the Rondo go back and grave, and then have Ohime use the Rondo again to steal your opponent's monster again. So that's another option as well, which would have been fine. So rather than look for the Promise off of the Huli, you could have gone, so if you backed up the board play, it would look something like this, where you would have the Rivalry, and then you wouldn't have the Nini. You would have the IP still, because you would have linked off the IP with, sorry, not linked off the IP. You would have linked off the Huli with the E-Telly and the Souls. You wouldn't have gotten the extra draw with Souls, but it's fine. But you'd still have Arabesque equipped to Apple, which is really nice protection. And then you'd have a Rivalry here, and then Rivalry target, go into Rondo, and then turn into a Unicorn, shuffle back a card, and then Rondo engrave, go Ohime, target the Rondo and steal again, which is another good option as well. So there's a few different routes you can go. I went the Promise route, or I committed to the Promise route, which is fine. But you can also commit to something like this, where you go Rivalry, and then again, you get into your Rondo here. And I'll just show you what that interaction would look like as well. Do I even have it, or is it engraved? Arabesque. Where is it? Oh, there's literally the last card. So you would go like, Rivalry. Rivalry gets sent to Graveyard, and again, what's cool is that you can trigger off the Rivalry to grab something else. Actually, that's probably the optimal play here, guys. Sorry, I think this is the optimal play. So you would Rondo, take their card, then go IP effect, link them all off. Rondo would also get linked off at the same time as well. Go into a Unicorn, and then you could go like Unicorn effect to discard the Roland, which would then get, yeah, this is it. Roland, which would then get sent to Graveyard. Then you would go, because it was co-linked, draw a card, which is great. Sure, we get into Connector. And then you would then go Rivalry effect, engrave. Sorry, yeah, the token gets sent off. And you go Rivalry and target the Fire Dance and add the Fire Dance to hand. And then you've already got Rondo engrave. So once you have Rondo engrave, you go Ohime effect, target the Rondo, steal again, which is, yeah, that's insane. That's the better play, is to go with the Rivalry in that case. If you don't have access to like a Barone, or if you don't have access to, I don't know, any other sort of card that gives you extra an Omni Negate, like a Herald or something, then I would do that play. And then you've got follow-up, because in end phase, you would go Roland effect, search for the double-edged sword, and then just keep playing from there. Cool. Okay. So that was a really convoluted test hand, guys. I'm sorry for that. And we're already at like the 22-minute mark. So maybe we'll just kind of like leave it there as just like a one-of test hand. Let's just see. Okay, maybe we go one more. I don't know. As you can tell, guys, this isn't rehearsed. This is all freestyling. We're going off the cuff here, which is fine. But, these are the kind of lines that, like, it's not always so clear cut, right? It's not always going to be so easy to kind of determine what the optimal play is unless you know what you have in your opponent's hand. That was one example. The Promise was a fine example because you could still use the IP and the Nini to your advantage to link off. And you could go into, like an access code talker if you just want more board presence, but I think the optimal play was to go with the Rivalry there and then just use the Rondo twice with the Ohime on board. Because again, getting that Unicorn on field to just like shuffle back a card and then draw a card, even off the one that you discarded. And then remember, the discard, you're still going to proc the effect of Roland. So that's not bad. That is not bad at all. So anyway, we'll see how it goes from here. Like I said, I don't want this video to be like too long. But while I'm shuffling here, I just want to say thank you all so much for watching. As you know, we've got a 2-card combo video that has been really, really popular. We've got a 1-card combo video that is also gaining a lot of traction right now, which is just awesome. That's really, really cool to see. These kind of videos are tough because they're very stream of consciousness, and I'm hoping that I'm making sense as I'm walking through my steps here. And, again, like if I screw up or if I mess up, not ashamed to admit it, and not ashamed to also look for the optimal play. And if the first one doesn't work out, then that's why we do these test hands, right? To just keep trying and seeing what we can actually come up with as we keep going here. And I just want to say too, if you're not skipping through this while I shuffle, we are coming up with a new deck list, which is quite a bit spicier than this one. It's got more explosiveness. It's got more ceiling, I think. There's more 2-card combo potential, which is really good. And I think that's kind of the key, is to have different options. My only concern right now with the build is that going second, how does our siding patterns look? And how do we kind of optimize our going second approach? So that's kind of just where I'm coming from right now, but it's a lot of fun. If you check the community page, you'll see that I'm always messing with new stuff for the goo. Oh, sorry guys, hit the camera. And I'm always trying to figure out what could be an optimal or better play for the deck. Okay, so we will shuffle, we'll cut. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and let's see what we get. Okay, we got prep, we got rivalry, we got tactics, we got Varus, we got prosperity. Okay, so this is one where it's kind of icky, but prosperity could come up big here. Again, you're hoping that your opponent doesn't necessarily ash you. So then in that case, you can bait them by going prep. You also have talents in here, which is going to allow you to draw as well. So, it depends on how you want to approach this. You can also look at their hand with triple tactics talent. Sorry, did I say prep? I don't know what I said, but you can also talent look at their hand, rip a card if they go ash, and then go into prosperity as well. So you have like options to play through. So we'll go prep here. We'll grab our Ohime and send that. Okay, what else? What do we got here? So again, if they did ash, we don't have access to Ohime, but we can talents, rip, and then we can go prosperity and try to dig further, which is fine. We have Allotrope Varus, which could be a normal summon depending on what we get off of the draws, to then go into an Isold play. And then we would see what their hand is with talent, so that would be not too bad. And we do have rivalry as a sort of disruption mechanism, so that's not too bad either. Okay, let's go prosperity, and let's just see what we get. This is why we build in cards like prosperity into the deck, is because we want to make sure that we can optimize consistency. So we'll go pot here. We will get rid of shooting. We'll get rid of probably, I'm going to say, let's see, Nightmare Phoenix. You could probably do these 2 Xyz. You keep the Xyz when you're going second, you're up against an Xyz player, because then you can steal, and then we need 2 more cards. So we'll probably end up going Almirage here, and we could go, I think we actually go Borg Blocker here, yeah. So that's fine. So we'll get rid of these. We'll banish them. And let's just see what we get here when we excavate off the top. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Amazing. So this is why we have those consistency cards, is because then we can dig deeper for our connector, right? Cool. So now we have full combo in hand in this case. So if you saw the 2-card combo video, that's basically what we would be doing. But yeah, we'll go from here. So we'll then normal summon connector. We'll go connector effect. We know that the dolphin was also excavated, so we'll grab that special dolphin here. And then we'll go dolphin effect. We could get rid of the rivalry in this case, but I think we'll keep it. We've already used our normal summon. I think I'll hold on to the tactics talent. It doesn't matter because we don't have, again, Allotrope can kind of brick our hand a little bit, but we can always discard it, so it's not a big deal. So we'll discard the Allotrope. We can look at our opponent's hand, and then we can rip anything from it, which is really nice, or just, again, get general hand knowledge if they didn't end up using any sort of hand trap or interaction during that sequence. So that's pretty good. That's not too bad. Okay, we'll link. We'll go into, of course, Isold. We'll go, Isold effect here, and that'll get us our rolling. And again, guys, I'm not stacking the deck or anything like that. This is all completely random. I hope that's obvious by the amount I was shuffling there and just keeping everything on camera for you. So, okay, so then we've got the rolling in hand. We'll then go Isold, and we'll send 4. So we will send Durendal, we'll send our Mayo, We'll send Arabesque, and we'll send the Axe as well. You could also, instead of Axe, you could send the DES. It just depends on whether or not you're keeping the Roland in hand. So it's up to you. But either one is fine to have engrave. And that's going to allow us to special out our Oliver. Now, again, with hand knowledge, you know if you can go with this line and it's completely free, right? So we got Oliver. And then what we'll do is we'll here activate Ohime's effect. And we're going to grab a ceremony. Okay. And then we'll discard... again, depends on what you want. We can discard the talents here. That's probably fine. And then we will activate the ceremony, special out Ohime. And ceremony will hit the grave. We'll then go Ohime effect, target the Durendal. And then the Durendal will equip, we can equip it to Isolde in this case, which is completely fine. We'll go Durendal effect, and that's going to search us for our Renault. Okay, we get our Renault, and of course, Durendal falls off. And we have a Fire Warrior on field already, so we'll then special out Renault. We'll go Renault effect and target the Arabesque that we sent as well. So we'll get that. So we have that in hand, which is really good. We can activate the ceremony at any point. Just make sure that you don't put Herald up on the board before you do your ceremony dump, because anything that's dumped from the hand or deck is going to get banished with Herald on field. So just keep that in mind, okay? So then what we'll do is we will go... let's go the ceremony route right now. So we'll go ceremony to banish, and then we will send our Huli here. Okay, just so we have it loaded up in our graveyard, good to go. So then what we'll do is we will go activate Arabesque, equip it to Isolde. We'll go Arabesque effect, and we are going to special out our Hare. So special out the Hare, bounce back the Isolde to the extra deck, and then Hare effect because it was equipped or is equipped. So we'll grab our Fire Dance, and that's usually the target. Again, there is our part 2 nib combo that goes for Arabesque, but usually we're going for Fire Dance as the Hare search. Just, again, all depending on what you have in hand. Okay, so now our field is looking really good for moving into our next set of plays. So we'll go Ohime and Oliver synchro into a Baron. Okay, so we'll go into a Baron here, that's fine. We'll then trigger Oliver's effect in Grave, targeting the Baron and equipping Oliver to Baron, so that way, again, he can't be targeted, which is really, really nice. We are then going to go Renault and Hare here, synchro, this falls off as well, into our Herald, which is good. And then what are we going to do now? I think the next play is to go Fire Dance out Huli. So we're going to Fire Dance. And we are going to bring out the Huli. So that's nice. And then we're going to go Huli effect, obviously. And that's going to grab us our Rivalry. Sorry, not our Rivalry. We're going to grab Promise. We have Rivalry already in hand, which is really nice because that's going to be another disruption on the opponent's turn. When we get Nini out, it's going to allow us to just steal even more and bulk up our Appaloosa even more if we want to. Then what we're going to do is activate Mayo Ishidori Engrave, targeting the Hare. And we're going to special out our Hare here. Okay, so hand's looking still pretty good. We have follow-up with Roland. We've got 2 traps in there as well. I think next play is just to link these gals off. And of course, the Hare does get banished because it was brought back by Mayo. So keep that in mind. And that's going to go into our IP play. Okay. And of course, keep that zone open for IP. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to set our Promise, set our Rivalry. And that's going to be it. And we're going to have a Roland in hand, which is really good. So, you know, draw phase, standby phase. We're going to go Promise. We're going to bring out our Nini, okay, and we're going to equip Nini with, let's just say Arabesque here. You could also equip her with Durendal. It would do the same thing, but we have the battle protection, or not battle protection, sorry, the destruction protection from card effects, so might as well use it. And again, you can also, you know, when you want to go into your IP plays, equip Roland to the IP or to the Nini, whatever is getting linked off, and then get your search from there. But don't forget, you need Nini on board to activate the rivalry. So you have the rivalry Rondo steal, or it could be not an Axe of Fools because we have Axe of Fools in graveyard. But if, let's say, they want to force a battle phase, you know, and they only have like Nini to swing into, for example, because the board state is completely like irrevocable, you can always go rivalry and equip the DES so it can swing into Nini, and that would be game, which is kind of funny because it doesn't change the amount of monsters on field. So the attack must go through.